Morning. Are you coming in then? Good morning, and what a show we got lined up for you today. Today's a good one. Countdown star Susie Dent will be here. About that, she'll be swapping Dictionary Corner for a kitchen table when she drops by the house a little bit later. We've got another British pub classic from Mr. James Tanner as well. The award-winning New Zealand-born chef Chantelle Nicholson will be here. She'll be making a Saturday morning debut. Food writer, author and ready steady cook star Romy Gill will be back as well. She'll be treating us to some more authentic Indian cooking. And don't miss this week's Little Masterclass. We'll be teaching you everything you want to know about how to serve up the perfect place. 3 dishes I'm going to be doing with that. And that's not all, because I'm joined again in the house by a fellow Yorkshire lad whose restaurant Roots has just been voted the country's best restaurant in the UK by the Observer Food Awards. It's a good mate of the show. It's Mr. Tommy Banks. Ching, ching, ching. Good morning to you. Congratulations on the award.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, you left here last time to go up to the awards, and
it was a good night.
It's a very good night. So what are you going to be doing for us? Because in between then and now, I've been to your restaurant and I had this dessert, and you're kindly going to do it for us.
Yeah, so it sounds a bit odd as a headline.
It sounds very weird.
So it's potato and chicory root dessert. So I make a potato custard, and then chicory root is an ingredient we grow a lot on the farm, and it has like a coffee-like flavour. So it's kind of got these sort of tiramisu, sticky toffee pudding vibes.
But it's not tiramisu, is it?
But it's not, no.
That's what you're going to be making for us as well, but there we go. But I thought I'd kick things off today with 2 dishes, one of which is a chicken wings. We're going to deep fry it and serve it with a nice little glaze. The other one is hot dogs for this one, so slightly different. But I'm going to introduce you to this amazing sauerkraut that we'll talk about. And this is the reason why I'm cooking this as well. So first thing we do is get the chicken wings and we get the hot dogs. I'm going to go proper hot dogs. I'm not going to do sort of pork sausages. I'm going to do Frankfurter. At least these go in. So these are going to go in warming up as per normal. I've got a nice little glaze that we're going to do it. The chicken wings we're just going to deep fry. I'm going to make a nice little glaze with this. These are going to go straight into here, into there. Now I can see you've got your eye on this sauerkraut as well. So we'll explain it first of all. So I'm going to use this as a little garnish. You can have a taste with this. So to find out more about this kimchi and the sauerkraut, we're going to head to Monmouthshire in South Wales to speak to the producers, Arthur Serini and Maddie Myers. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, James. Thanks for having us.
It's absolute pleasure. Now, first of all, Tommy's already diving into this. We'll explain what we're going to be doing in a second and the taste of how it all started. But first of all, your love of this together came when you were studying, didn't you? That you bonded over sauerkraut.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it started when we were doing our MSc in human nutrition up in Aberdeen, and Maddie used to gift me jars of sauerkraut, and I was the only one who would be eating them.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then doing it as a business, didn't you, both of you, then cleared off round Scotland? You did this amazing road trip. Now, you make me very jealous, because I want to do this road trip as well. Tell us about the road trip.
Yeah, so we spent 2 weeks doing the North Coast 500 from Applecross all the way back to Aberdeen. I think it's supposed to end in Inverness. And we had a couple of jars of sauerkraut and kimchi just in the boot of the car. And it was just a way for us to get fresh veg or preserved veg while on the road. And normally you eat pretty bad when you're on the road, but we felt like we were eating like kings, having like sort of vegetables in our diet on a daily basis, and it really kind of got us excited about sort of the preservation power of fermentation and how versatile these foods really are and how stable they are, even outside the fridge for prolonged periods. And
then the fascinating side of it, we're going to get to the manufacturing bit in a minute. Didn't you sort of team up with the amazing charity Fair Share for a little bit of their unit or something like that to get the business started?
We did, yeah. So when we started the business, we wanted to kind of do a business that would do some good for the world as well. So we have we started the business with a core value of helping to reduce food waste in any way we could. And I think we'd had some conversations with the people at Fair Share and to see if we could link up and use any of their surplus that they might have so that we could reduce any of their food waste as well. And I think just through conversations, we found out that they had a tiny little office unit in their big warehouse and that we could use their teaching kitchen. So that's actually where we started the business. We started making the sauerkraut and kimchi in their teaching kitchen at night, which was fun. But yeah, it was very low cost, very easy, and it just enabled us to start our business with very little money.
Yeah.
So explain to me, we've got See, Tommy's looking. You're into this. You're into this big time, aren't you? Really? So, explain to us the process. Take, for instance, people what we're familiar with the sauerkraut, for instance. What is the process of?
Yeah.
What is it? A, can people do it at home? And B, what is the process of it?
So generally, I like to think about the process as we're not actually making the product themselves. We're sort of facilitating certain microorganisms to make the product for us. And we do this by shredding the vegetable, salting the vegetable, adding different spices and herbs. And then the salt extracts that natural liquid found within vegetables, because most vegetables are upwards to 90% water. And this creates a salty brine, which we then submerge the veg under for a defined period of time at a defined temperature. And this gives everything the microbe needs, restricting oxygen, the addition of salt, and then various temperatures to sort of control the process along the way. So with sauerkraut, for instance, we ferment for around 3 weeks before we put it in jars.
Is that what you're doing?
My version's a bit more layman's than that.
Right. When you've got these sort of things, and I've got pickles and bits and pieces up there, and you've got to be careful of it, because sometimes if you get it wrong, you can end up with a little explosion on the shelf and stuff like that. You
don't want an explosion of red cabbage all up your wall.
Which we've all probably done when we were. So if you're going to do this at home, what are the do's and don'ts if you're going to do this at home? I'm assuming you can actually buy proper bits of kit to be able to do this.
You can, but you really don't have to. So although, it sounds kind of technical, it's actually really simple. It's really basic. We like to, share the fermentation with everybody, because it is something that everyone can do at home with the most basic equipment. You can buy all kinds of fancy jars and airlocks, but all you need is just an empty pickle jar. You can reuse one you've had before. You don't need anything technical. Yeah,
just so a simple cutting board, knife, grater, and like Maddie said, an old jar or a Kilner sort of clip top jars work really well.
Now you want to have a taste of this, so have a taste of this. What do you make at the restaurant then? What do you make at the restaurant?
Well, all sorts of things. I mean, fermentation is something that we do a lot because it's a great way of preserving vegetables. So anything from sort of kimchis, I do umeboshi with things like rhubarb and plums.
But is it very much a trial and error with you?
We've been doing it for quite a lot of years.
It must have been when you first started.
Start off with, there was some, not great products. Also, I think, I remember once somebody had done something and forgot to put salt in it, and that is just obviously the key ingredient. So that didn't work out at all. But I think the amazing thing about all sort of fermented goods, especially things like your sauerkrauts and kimchis. Firstly, the fact that you had it in the back of your car driving around. Anybody who's got smelly cabbage in the back of the car is my friend. But secondly, the great thing is no refrigeration needed once it's done. It's a great way of preserving. But secondly, it's full of umami flavour. It has so much depth to it. I think anything you add these ingredients to, it's going to be full of flavour. Well,
there's a lot said about the health benefits. So just give us some health benefits from it comes from this, because this has been done for years and years and years. Thousands of years. Give us the benefits from eating the kimchis and that kind of stuff. These sauerkrauts and everything else.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We have been consuming these types of foods for thousands of years, but in the last, 100 or so years, our diets have become quite different. They've become quite sterile because we've got new processing methods. So it's kind of a way to get back to the way our diet probably should have been. And then, through the process of fermentation, that's actually thought to make the vegetables even more nutritious. So there's some thinking that the microbes can actually increase the amount of certain vitamins. So you have those benefits. And then you've got the benefit of consuming live microbes. So we don't pasteurize any of our products. That means that the microbes that did the fermentation for us are still there when you eat them. And there's a lot more research, a lot more evidence showing that can have benefits, not just for our gut health, but our overall health as well.
So is the process of making the pickles that you've got on here in front of us, we've got the classic sort of red cabbage there, we've got the sauerkraut, we've got the kimchi over here. Are the processes more or less exactly the same? You start off with a similar sort of idea, and it's the same sort of method?
Yeah, when it comes to the sauerkrauts, different flavors, it's pretty much all the same method. Kimchi varies slightly, as in Chinese leaf is quite water intensive. So we generally salt the Chinese leaf, drain some of the excess liquid so we don't get too much liquid in there, which could dilute sort of the umami flavors and the chili and ginger and garlic flavors that come from making kimchi. And then generally kimchi is fermented for shorter periods. So we tend to ferment our kimchi anywhere from 7 to 10 days at slightly cooler temperatures, whereas sauerkraut tends to be fermented 18 to 21, 22 for around 3 weeks, as I said before.
Well, guys, I wish you all the very best of luck with it. And like many great businesses, it all starts off with an idea. Two people have a great passion, and then it grows on from there. Like his business, like your business, like any great business. So I wish you all the very best with it. It's a fantastic product, and thank you for being a part of it.
Amazing, guys.
Thanks so much, James.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Cheers. Look, so we've got on here, we're just going to finish this off. We've got on here, we've got our chicken wings like that. See, how good is that? It's delicious, isn't it? The flavours of that.
So much flavour. That kimchi is just...
Yeah, and then what I like with this is the sweet and the sour bit. So we've got the sweetness of the honey. I've got in here... So in this glaze, we've got some honey. I've got some cumin. I've got some ketchup. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Roll this around the deep-fried chicken wings. And then here we've got mint and coriander and a little bit of cumin at the end.
Wow.
And we just take this and we just pile this on the end.
This is what's known as a Yorkshire portion.
Well, this is what's known as me and you having a canopy. That's what it is, isn't it?
Wow.
But
I mean, I'm game.
But that's your starter for one. But there we have it. So I just think it's a lovely. I love the colours of this and everything else. But there you have it. An alternative to the humble little hot dog. And you've got crispy fried chicken wings with that glaze, and don't forget a lovely sauerkraut underneath. There we have it. Bon appetit. Yeah. Right, bon appetit.
Wow. You're going to...
Start at one end. Well, I'm going to have to help you. Of course I'm going to have to help you. I'm not going to leave you in peace and just leave you in a cupboard on your own in this.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, those good wings. I like that sweet and sour.
Yeah. It's just a flavour bomb, the whole thing, isn't it?
All right, good at that. There you go. Now, Tommy, you're going to be creating this amazing dessert.
Yeah, it's potato dessert. I think seeing is believing. It sounds weird, but it really works.
Tastes amazing as well. Tastes brilliant. And Marcus Ware's former right-hand woman, Chantelle Nicholson, will be cooking for us a little bit later. But join us after the break when we're serving up another classic slice of pub grub from Mr. James Tanner. I'll see you in a bit. Right, I'll start at this end. Welcome back now, friend of the show. Romy Gill will be making another trip down to Hampshire later on this morning, and I'll be joined in the house by Countdown star Susie Dent in just a little while. Now, I do apologise for this. It's two Yorkshiremen leaning on a gate post. This is our director. He said it would be good to stand here doing this, you see. You just need a ferret.
Yeah.
I've actually got my flat cap ready just to wind him up even more. But, right, it's time now for another recipe. And with Britain's pubs are closing in record numbers, you'll know this as well,
yeah.
We thought I'd do something to support the industry. So here we are with a selection of different recipes. This time, it's landlord James Tanner. He'll be showing us how to do an old-school classic of chicken and ham pie. Enjoy this one. Where's the ferret? We need to... Yeah.
Today, we're cooking my all-time classic, chicken and ham pie. I've made this at pubs since I was about 15 years old, so quite some time now, and I absolutely love this one. This is how I've done it at my pub before as well. So in here we've got some chicken breast and some chicken thigh. Touch of oil goes in there, and literally I just want to get that colour so it's just seared all over. The trick to a good chicken and ham pie, yeah, of course, is flavour and everything else like that, but you don't want the meat to be too dry and the texture of it to be too tough. Hence why I'm only just searing it off, OK? Now, the ham element for this is this, diced up gammon. So gammon steaks. So it's not ham that you flake or anything like that. You could use ham hocks if you're cooking them whole, but gammon, to me, adds great flavour. You could use smoked gammon or unsmoked. The choice is yours. Play around with it, see what you think. As you can see, the coloration on the chicken is just where I want it to be, so it's only just seared, but we put that in first to colour it, and then in with those gammon pieces. beautiful. I love the flavour from the smoky gammon, personally. But like I said, you can use whatever. You just want to make sure that the chicken is seared first, more importantly than the gammon. OK, so that's doing its thing there. Now, for this, we got some beautiful leek, which I just love with chicken and ham pie. I think the leek's got great flavour. Some celery as well, a dice of carrot, some onion, and a little bit of thyme to flavour everything up with. So while this is all searing now, and now that the gammon's just starting to change colour on me as well, which is what I want. So it's looking a bit opaque, which is perfect actually. So that goes back into the pan. I'm going to use any juices that come out of all of this now to soften up those vegetables. And in they go. We give everything a good mix up, and we make sure that this soaks up any excess oil as well, and it just starts to soften that veg. OK, we're going to create a wonderful sauce for this one, but I don't want to add the flour and butter into a pan now because it can all gloop up and just won't be a nice consistency and not what we want. To that, we're going to use butter and flour in our pan, but also I've got some chicken stock here, OK, and that's going to add great, great flavour. Also, at work, if I ever cook big hams, I save the ham stock, I freeze it, and I also can put ham stock with the chicken stock as well, just for even more ultimate flavour. OK, so these are all starting to soften. And as I said before, I didn't want to make everything go gloopy by adding flour and butter to this, so I'm actually now going to remove the softened vegetables and the chicken out of the pan and just put it to one side for a moment while we create our sauce. So there we have it. Make sure we get all the bits and pieces out of the pan. There we go. Get that lot out of the way for a second. And let's think about the sauce. So, butter straight in. Give everything a good rub around the pan, make sure everything starts to melt down. OK, so here's the butter's melted. Let's place that flour in and really start to just combine everything together. Again, we want to cook the roux out. Otherwise, the sauce will taste floury, and that's what you really, really don't want. And now it's starting to look smooth, but I'm just about to change that because now it's going to come together where it'll be a little bit clumpy. This is optional. I love it as a back note. White wine. The dry white wine's quite nice for this one. It is optional though, and we're actually going to cook the roux and create the roux with wine. See how it goes thicker, like I said? A bit more in there now. Everything's really starting to come together and bubble up, which is fantastic. Make sure you keep it moving in the pan because you don't want the roux to burn. And at this stage now, I can start with the addition of stock. Hot stock. Notice the stock is already hot. And we keep moving constantly. And all of a sudden, that thick paste that you saw will start to cook out and come together more. At this stage, we take our chicken, vegetables, thyme, any juices that are left in the tray, and that goes back in. Okay. And then we make sure everything gets combined in that wonderful rich sauce, and we finish the sauce as well. OK, so here we go. This is now the second process of the cookery. Remember, the chicken isn't cooked through yet by any means, it's just seared. But now the flavour of that sauce with the chicken stock, the wine in there is really going to do its job. Little treat, I'm using whipping cream, not double cream. I think the fat solids are too much. I don't want the sauce to split. And then to finish things off, a nice generous helping, but only at the end now before we put it into its dish, of some shredded parsley. OK, we're using flat leaf parsley on this one. You make sure everything is completely combined. Now, correct the seasoning. Touch of salt and a touch of pepper. And now, at this stage, when it's all come together and seasoned, we can take it off the heat. So the chicken, I'd say, is now halfway through, just about half cooked through. And we're going to grab a pie dish. These are individuals for a good old portion of pie. Just get myself a spoon and then make sure you get all of those wonderful ingredients. Just get that little thyme leaf out there. Look at that, lovely. The vegetables, the leek, the wine in that sauce. And look, it's creamy. And look how the sauce came back together, but we cook it out with the wine on the roux. I think works really, really well on this one. Sauce looks gorgeous, smells delicious, but it's not a pie without its lid. And this is a lidded pie, obviously. Now, of course, you can use short crust pastry. I really love buttery puff pastry, so that's what I'm doing today, and it's how we served it before. So, life's too short for me to make my own puff pastry. So I've got this ready-made all butter puff pastry that's looking good to go. Not too warm, you want it, you know, just let it come out of the fridge so it's pliable. I'm gonna roughly measure my pie dish, just very roughly, okay? And then we're gonna cut a sheet of the pastry that's just a tiny bit bigger than our pie. Wrap up the pastry. Here I've got a bit of egg wash, and we're just gonna egg wash the edge only of the dish. And this just acts like a little glue, okay? Just to stop the pastry from sticking through. You could use water on this method as well, if you didn't want to put the egg around the outside, but I'm literally just hitting the edge of the dish. Put that off to one side. And then let's lay that pastry over our pie, and I like to leave just the end pieces showing. So I'm just going to roughly mark that there. This will get pulled off afterwards, okay? And then let's get rid of the excess pastry. A crimp around the edge. Pull and fold, okay? And then a touch of egg wash all over the top. Oven's preheated, 180 degrees, to cook the pastry and cook that chicken so it's tender on the inside, not rubbery, not tough, packed full of flavour. This will add a lovely glaze to our pie as well. And then I'm just going to nick 2 marks in the top, and that goes straight into the oven. Oh, so it's 20 minutes later, and my pie's just about ready. I've used the time to have a little tidy up there in the kitchen. Let's get ready to serve up. And look at that, a pie of gorgeousness. Okay, I like to serve mine with seasonal greens, and then as a side order, why not add either a glass of white wine or really nice with cider. So I'm going to dig down and get that goodness at the bottom. Let's get some of that beautiful filling. And as you can see, the sauce, look how clear and wonderful the sauce is, not lumpy or anything like that, packed full of flavour. Of course, you've got to have some of them gammon pieces there. It just looks great, it smells fantastic. So, there we have it. A fantastic classic that I've done for many, many years. That is my chicken and ham pie.
Now, Tommy will be wowing us with an amazing dish with potatoes and a dessert a little bit later. And we've got recipes from Chantelle Nicholson and Romy Gill on the way. But I'll see you here in just a few minutes, and I'll be in the kitchen with Countdown star Susie Dent. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, we've got a masterclass in perfecting a classic dish of plaice, and Chef Chantelle Nicholson will be in the kitchen a little bit later. But first, I'm here with a woman whose way with words has helped her become one of the longest-standing members of the Countdown cast. It's the brilliant Susie Dent! Welcome to the house. I would say cheers. You're on your tea,
I'm
is
on
it?
my tea.
You're on your tea?
But I hear there might be a Negroni coming up later, so it may
could
change.
possibly as well. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the house. Welcome to Hampshire. I'm going to cook for you because we're going to cook a vegetarian dish.
Yes,
so we're
perfect.
going to do this lovely little lentil dal. I'm going to do it with this thing called a blooming onion, which is delicious.
blooming onion?
A blooming onion. A blooming onion, you're going to call it. So we're going to get that on first. We can get that deep fried, and then I'm going to do it with like a little coriander and mint chutney. So first of all, the onion, just to show you how to do this. So the best way to describe this is like an onion flour.
OK.
So what you have to do with the onion, first of all, is try, wherever possible, keep the root on the onion. So when you peel it, keep the root on. And then what I do is put it in between sort of 2 spoons like that, because what you don't want to be doing, the idea is to cut this through, but you don't cut it through so it cuts all the way through, so you chop it in half.
Yeah.
So the first bit is we cut it through there, and this will stop you from cutting it through. Cut it through again, like that, and then cut it through again into quarters, like that, and you keep working your way around until you cut it through as many times as you possibly dare without it all falling apart. Now, how are you in the kitchen anyway?
I'm all right. I'm just thinking, looking at that, because I'm such a word nerd, that where onion comes from, because it's got...
What are you thinking about words already with the onion?
I know, it's like a one-onion, because it's a single bulb. So it's got one at its heart. Yeah, because it's a single thing. Anyway, sorry.
Is that where it comes from?
Yes.
You must be constantly thinking
I know,
about this,
honestly, I don't take me anywhere.
Where does the love of this come from? Is this school, or it must come from school, does it?
I wish I knew. I kind of feel like words found me, which is a good thing, because I wasn't very good at anything else. And then I started learning French and German, and it was just this whole new world to me. And I just lost myself in these vocabulary books. And I was honestly a geek way before geeks became fashionable.
Because you used to come on, and schoolwork was... Most parents would struggle to get their kids to do any schoolwork. It wasn't a problem with you. You'd be...
No. It was, honestly, they were kind of like my oasis. I just kind of got lost in this world. And so I honestly don't know where it started, but I'm very lucky that, that I did find it, or it found me. It feels almost mystical.
then taking before the job that you're in now, and people know you for as well, but you went to America, studied in America, didn't you?
Yes, I studied in America. But
Was that always the dream to do that, to go to America?
It was a dream to live in New York, and I didn't know what I wanted to do when I left university, so I thought, do you know what, I'm going to go and see if I can study over there. And I did, and I loved it, and I did get to live in New York, and I stayed there for 3 years and knew I wasn't going to be an academic. So I went into publishing.
What do you mean by that? Well, you knew you weren't going to...
It just wasn't for me. Even though I am really happy reading a dictionary, I didn't want to spend my life studying in sort of quite what felt like quite a narrow world. And of course, it isn't a narrow world. That's just how it felt to me. But I wanted to stay with books, so I went into publishing, and I went to work for the publisher that produces the Oxford Dictionary, and that's how I got onto Countdown. I never meant to be on telly.
Because we're going to talk about that as well, because you did a few years working for them, wasn't it? Because Countdown has been on for how many years now?
40. Last year, it had its 40th birthday, and I have been on it for 30 years.
Because wasn't it the fact that when it started, they were taking people from your office? Was it all?
Yeah, there were loads of us. I was just one of many. And we just rotated. So I was doing that job most of the time, and then I went up 3 or 4
You actually didn't want to do it?
No, I said no quite a few times because that just wasn't my world, really. But yeah, so I did say no, and I was really lucky that my boss was quite insistent that I did. And I went up and sat trembling next to Rula Lenska on that very first day. Yeah, really
with no training whatsoever, you just put in the situation.
No.
What is it you think is the key to success? Because, this crew want me to carry on for about 30 to 40 years. We're now 16 years of Saturday mornings. What do you think the key to the success is of a show like that?
Format. I don't know if you feel the same, but I think it's... Well, your shows are about... obviously, you are the linchpin. I feel like with Countdown, it is just a format that everybody recognises, that everybody has seen at some point in their lives, and that you almost instantly know how to play. So if you watch the comedy version, 8 out of 10 cat
Which
stuff
we
countdown.
love, everybody.
Yeah. That you can see if you're in the sort of, you know, performances it's being done, you can see the audience laughing at the comedy, but also trying to do the numbers round or trying to come up with the longest letters because you can't help yourself.
But when you're filming that, particularly the comedy one, it must take the bit that actually you see must be a small snippet of...
We record for about 2.5 hours normally, and by the time they get to us in the corner, we've had an hour of really funny comedians, you know, bringing out their mascots and making everyone laugh. And then Jimmy asked me a question like, "So, Susie, what's your favourite American word?" And I feel like I should be funny as well as come up with something interesting, and normally fail.
Now, we're going to talk about words a little bit later on the show, and you're going to teach me, because I'm dyslexic as hell, so you're going to teach me some new and interesting words. But first of all, I want to talk to you about the project you're doing, because we're all big animal lovers here on the show.
Yes, I've seen your
particularly
lovely
dog
dogs.
lovers.
Yes. Tell
us about this amazing project, because this is fantastic.
Well, I am going to become one of many sighted guides for guide dogs. So I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't dogs that led me to guide dogs in the first place. We have a lovely audience member, Craig, who comes to see Countdown with Bruce, his guide dog. And I did everything wrong, James. I would go and cuddle Bruce, I'd give him food, I would... and he was working, so I really shouldn't have done any of those things. But anyway, talking to Craig, just could see what a difference Bruce is making to his life, really.
So is this from... Anybody can take part in this? Anybody can do it? Anybody can help? This could be... Is it if you've got an hour free a week, if you've got an hour free a month, an hour free a year, it doesn't matter?
No, exactly. It would be such a wonderful thing to do. And I think just can forge a really important partnership. And as I said, it's not going to be one way either. I imagine I'm going to learn loads of stuff that I just take for granted, really. And, you know, even now I'm sort of learning. There's a lovely video from Guide Dogs showing not just how you can become a my-sighted guide, but also what you can do if you see somebody who might need help. And it's basically just talking and asking questions. You know, would you like help? I'm Susie, you know, can I help you in any way? So it's just little things that seem very obvious, but actually I think you have to fight against your
change their
instincts.
lives as well as improve yours.
Oh, honestly, I can't wait. So I will be fully trained up and, as I say, partnered with somebody and find out about their life and also just what they would like to do. You know, it might just be going out for a lovely walk somewhere. It might be just going shopping or, you know,
well,
wherever.
I think it's brilliant. We'll talk more about it anyway in the morning, but throughout the morning. But you've got the spice in here. We've got the
lentils.
Split peas. Got the lentils gone in here, and then what we're going to do is just take a bit of water, and this goes in here, and then you want to gently cook this. It needs about sort of 20 minutes, something like that. And I've got one that's been cooking away nicely over there. These are the blooming onions. Look, so these are your nice little bit of onions. The garlic, the ginger, I always put in at this stage, because I don't put it in otherwise in case it burns, but that goes in here. We're going to just sort of gradually heat this up and then add a little bit of chilli and make this sort of little chutney. So I've got to talk to you about the words and stuff like that, because the subject of it is fascinating, but also the languages and the crossover languages. You speak fluent German?
Yes.
A little bit of French?
Yeah, French, probably like an 18th century author, because I've never actually really looked at it. So
well, I speak kitchen French, and that's a whole different word.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things we can't put on daytime TV, to be honest with you, kitchen French.
Is this the Anthony Bourdain type of French?
No, I speak that kind of French, really. Yes. Anyway, we'll go there. That kind of French, that's what I was born up with.
That's much more streetwise than my one.
That's what I... So between the two of us, we could write a good book, I think, there.
I think so, too.
So you must have some favourite words out of everything, because you must be constantly... I mean, it's one of the subjects that you never stop learning of, I'm sure. You're picking up new stuff all the time.
Yeah, and not just from, you know, main dictionaries, but from old dictionaries. There's so many words that are just so brilliant, and you kind of think, how did they ever fall out of use? They're just, especially insults, I have to say. The dictionary loves a good insult. I don't know, what was I thinking of the other day? There's, it's a bit difficult to say, but an ipsedixitist is somebody who insists that something is right because they heard someone down the pub say it, and so it's got to be fact. You know, it's somebody
called the director in our world.
Okay.
Camera's laughing over there. He knows what I'm talking about, that one.
No, just because someone has said it, they say it's got to be true. So that's one of them. And then I just love all the lovely old dialect words. There's a great word from Yorkshire, which occasionally occurs to me when I look in the mirror. or the idiorepulsive is a good one for looking in the mirror because it means you repel yourself. You repulse yourself by looking in the mirror. But also cranbazzled, which is Yorkshire dialect for prematurely aged from too much partying, which I think is a very good one.
Right, we're going to chat loads a little bit more later, but I'm just going to finish this off now. We've got some fresh lime in here, got a little bit of lemon. That's going to go in here. Mix all that lot together. This goes on here. And then all we're going to do is take our...
Oh, that looks so good.
Looks all right, that, doesn't it?
So lots of chilli as well.
A little bit of chilli just to warm it up. Yeah. That's going to go in there. There we go. And then we want our blooming onion, which we can take one of these. Sits right in the middle. And you want a dollop of our nice little bit of chutney. Just sits on the side.
That looks so good.
And there you have it. My blooming onion with lentil dal and a dollop of chutney. Done.
That's fantastic.
Right, there we have it.
I can't wait for this, thank
As you
you.
dive into that. You sort of attack it, you just sort of chop the onion up, and you can see when you chop it up, it's just pieces. It's just...
Oh, and one of your dogs
Even you got Ralph just looking. Ralph right on cue, look.
Do you like onions, Ralph? Oh.
Look at that dog. Just...
This might be a bit spicy for you, maybe. I think so. This is a really good word for this. Groking, which is looking longingly at someone else's food. And dogs do it all the time.
You do a lot of groking, don't you, dog?
You're groking. Oh, that is delicious.
Mind you, this crew does a lot of groking, to be honest with you, but yeah. Happy with that?
That is delicious.
It's nice, isn't it? With the spicy, the lentils.
The
it's
dal
really
is amazing
There you go. Right, you've been for a mouth-watering treat, Susie. At the end of the show, I'm going to a classic pudding, eclairs and profiteroles as well.
Lovely.
That's your second course, but dive into that, finish off that one. And there's a masterclass in place coming your way very shortly. But join me again after the break when the brilliant Mr. Tommy Banks will be blowing your mind with a dessert made out of 2-root veg. Potatoes is one of them. Yes, it's dessert. I've tried it before and it's ace. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we're teaching you the ultimate way to cook plaice in this week's little masterclass. I'll be doing 3 dishes with it, to be honest. And I'll be speaking some more to my guest, Susie Dent, later on in the show. But first, we've been joined by Chantelle Nicholson. Welcome to the house.
Thank you very much.
But also, I've been joined by a Yorkshire lad who's, it's not his first time on the show, but he's bringing together pudding and potatoes. This is going to be great. It's the brilliant Tommy Banks. Good to have you on the show again.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I came to your restaurant about 3 weeks ago, and this dessert, I went, what on earth is going on? This is dessert out of potatoes and chicory root.
Yes, exactly that. So,
Explain yourself.
so chicory root, I mean, most people look at it and think it's a parsnip. But it's an ingredient we grow on the farm. You don't see it very often, but you might have seen like camp coffee essence and things like that in the supermarket. So it's what we used to drink as coffee during the war when they couldn't get coffee imported. Right. So we grow these.
Right.
I'm going to start with a little chicory root crumble.
Which is you want me to do.
Yeah, so that's quite a sort of a normal crumble, but with chicory root in it. And then I'm going to make the potato custard, and then we're going to make a chicory root caramel as well.
So we've got dark brown sugar, well, we've got soft brown sugar, and we've got white sugar.
Yeah.
And we're just going to mix this first of all, and then explain to you where you got flour, you got salt.
And baking powder.
Baking powder and some of this chicory root powder.
Yeah, a nice spoonful of that, yeah.
OK.
So, potato custard sounds bizarre.
Usual, isn't it?
It's like baked potato, but...
Yeah. So the key
Sweet.
thing, so rather than, obviously, a traditional custard would have eggs in it to thicken it. So it's actually the potato itself that thickens it. So, yeah, the potatoes, I simmer them out with a little bit of milk, like you'd normally have in ice cream.
So explain to anybody your business up there, because it's multifaceted. You've got that's that one. That's that one. There.
Yeah. Oh, thank
you. So you've got first of all your restaurant, your main restaurant. Well, I say your main restaurant, but I'd say your Michelin star restaurant. But they've both got it.
Yeah.
But your first one.
Yeah. So the Black Swan. That's where I grew up in North Yorkshire. It's, I think, not far from where you grew up, really. And yeah, we're farmers originally, so we have the farm there where we grow all the ingredients, and then We have Dexter cattle and Herdwick sheep. And
So that was, how long ago was the Black Swan then? How long ago was that?
so 2006 we started there, but I was 17 then. So
You're self-taught,
yeah,
more or less. Yeah.
winging it, I think.
Yeah,
is,
but self-taught, 17-year-old. How does a 17-year-old get a pub?
So I think the farm wasn't
Winning the lottery would be one of them. to be
Yeah,
honest
that
with
would be one of them. The farm wasn't doing great, and Mum and Dad had run a farmhouse bed and breakfast for a lot of years, so somehow thought that they'd be good at running a pub as well. And my brother is 2 years older than me. He left school and was working in a pub, and neither of us were very academics, so we just, got put in charge of that. So, I mean, who'd have thought putting a 17 and 19-year-old lad in charge of a pub would be a good idea?
So what have you just put in there then? What's that in there?
So this is going to be the potato custard. So it's sugar, milk, potatoes, and then a little bit of brown butter. So butter that I've already caramelised.
Now, I wanted to show you this because I wanted to keep it on long enough because that's what... It's unlike a normal sort of crumble that you're used to. This is what you end up with. This is what you want. It's almost like a pastry.
Yeah, exactly. So normally you'd rub crumble through your fingers and thumb, or if you were going to make it in the machine, you'd be watching it all the time to make sure you didn't do that. But what I want is, like a thick pastry. But what we then do, to the left there, I've got one that we made earlier, which is set up. So you can make this and put it in the freezer or put it in the fridge, and then just on the box grater, grate it. So I think it's quite a nice little technique that if you ever want a bit of crumble on your ice cream or something, you just
in the freezer.
pull it out the freezer,
I love it. I love this. Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, if you, the best thing about a crumble is all the baked bits on the outside. So if I was making a crumble, I would make it traditionally. But I think for this dessert, it works really well. So we'll then bake that in the oven.
Yeah.
And then it just goes nice and crispy. And then you chop it down basically and get this lovely fine
That's
crumb.
what that crumb is. So
Yeah.
we'll pop that in the oven. So you open the Black Swan at Alston. You got that.
Yeah. And
Then that worked. You suddenly decided, I'm quite good at this kitchen, Mark. I'm going to progress forward. And now you've got roots in York.
Yeah, so, we won a Michelin Star Roots the year before last.
Yeah.
So that's, very similar. I found that you couldn't really run the farm with just one restaurant, because how do you use everything? And to be honest, when you'll find it, it's just nice having different places to go and work.
That's great.
It keeps it interesting and fresh, and I love the city of York as well. It's just a great place to be.
You just put some gelatin in there?
Yes.
So you just soak the gelatin, that's gone in there?
Yeah. So what will happen with these potatoes is it just simmers out really gently. Cook the potatoes till they go soft, and then basically blend it.
Right.
So, and then you end up with this sort of blancmange potato custard sort of situation.
How does his brain work to be able to do this? But
it's
go on then.
amazing.
So that's the blonde. That's the custardy bit.
Yeah, and then what will happen with that is it will go into a soda gun, so it'll aerate it slightly.
Yeah.
And then instead of butter, well, it is butter, but I've turned it to beurre noisette first. So then.
So this is nut brown butter that you've caramelised in a pan, put it onto a tray and set it basically.
Exactly that, and then you put it into little cubes, and it's just Monty au beurre. So often it's quite good to do it with a hand blender. I mean, beurre noisette doesn't emulsify as well as normal butter because you've caramelised all of the solids. Give that a little taste, and then we can build.
You're not far off. What about the salt? Do you want that for anything?
Always, yeah. The salt is.
Just there being a commie chef for you. This guy.
Thank you.
Chef, you've missed a bit.
Missed the seasoning.
Right, so that's that. And then I'll get your bits and pieces out. So this bit first that went all over you earlier.
Yeah, I might just stand over it.
Yeah, stand away. Yeah.
So we'll move that to one side. I'll switch that lot off.
Thank you.
So it doesn't go up on the stove there.
So so a little bit of the chicory root crumble first. So this was what you creamed in there, grated, and made into a nice crumb. So we get plenty of that in the bottom for texture.
Right, so what is this bit?
So I haven't taught this. This is some chicory root ice cream. So it's like your standard sort of ice cream base, but with the chicory root powder in it as well. Yeah, so it's got that sort of. Coffee is the sort of flavour you would say that you'd associate with it. However, it has a bit more depth than that. I think it's got that sort of chocolatey flavour as well.
It's all right. That's going back in my freezer, because that'll be for me for later.
And then this potato custard, so we simmered out the potatoes, blended them, it goes into one of these, which I don't have a license for. And then it should
Oh, there we go.
just beautifully cascade over there, or not. There we go. So potato custard, and then a little bit of this chicory powder like you were dusting the top of your tiramisu. And then finally, whoa, I think I put so much butter in this, I'm just going to spoon it over. You know, when you say this dish, it sounds odd, but when you think about it, it's quite a lot of flavours that, other than potato, that you're quite sort of used to in a dessert. The butterscotch sauce is, like, delicious, right?
So give us the name of this dish then.
So potato and chicory root.
By Mr. Tommy Banks. I told you it was good. Easy as that. Right.
Wow.
Bon appetit. We brought Yorkshire to you, rather than you go to Yorkshire, but tell me what you
In a
think.
plate.
You've got to go down to the bottom as well, haven't you,
Yeah,
really?
got to get the crunch.
Have a bit of that
Some
ice cream.
yeah. So I think potatoes are very sweet as well.
It's so good because it's not super sweet. It's just savoury, kind of nutty flavoured,
It's very clever,
creamy.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's very clever.
That's the best dessert I've ever tasted on TV. That is absolutely stonking.
It is, yeah.
I know.
I'd definitely take that.
Just next time, can you do it in a bigger bowl?
Yes,
Thank
chef.
you very much. Tommy Banks, everybody. Brilliant, that. Brilliant, actually. Right, Chef Romy Gill will be cooking for us a bit, and there's a masterclass in place coming your way very shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, our other guest will be cooking and impressing us a dish of her very own. I'll see you in a bit. This is delicious. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be teaching you how to prepare and cook plaice in this week's Little Masterclass, and I'll be treating to my guest, Susie Dent, to fritter rolls and chocolate eclairs later on this morning. But first, Tommy and I thought it'd be a good idea, seeing as it's this lady's debut on the show, for him to sit there and me to give you a hand. But she's come all the way from New Zealand with an award-winning array of recipes for a London restaurant. She set the scene alight in London. It's Chantelle Nicholson! First time on the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the house.
Thank
What are you going to be
you.
doing for us then?
So today we're going to do a butter poached pollock with a caramelised cauliflower puree on the side, a little salad made from the leaves, and then a zoug to accompany it to give it a little bit of a kick.
A zoug. You're going to explain that in a minute. I'm going to then just take out the seeds out. But you want to do the fish first of all. So,
Yes.
So tell us about that. I mean, the pollock is an amazing fish anyway.
It's
but
one of my favourites. It's just
Yeah.
so...
not really native to New Zealand.
not native to New
No.
Zealand, but definitely native to, well, Cornwall. We get a lot of it for the restaurant. But I just really like the texture of it, and it's quite unctuous, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a lovely colour to it, that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people look at it and go, well, it's a poor alternative to cod.
I would disagree
Yeah.
entirely.
Cod's great, but it's different, isn't it? It's just a different fish.
Yeah.
But you've got to, would you say you've got to salt it first?
Yeah,
Is that...
well, that's for this particular cooking method. I would, if you're just going to pan fry it. But I think
Sometimes
this is a
it's
really
quite
good way.
it can be quite powdery though, don't you think? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So
I think just this trim, by the way, you
Yeah.
can use to make some delicious fish cakes or
yeah.
one of the kind. So I'm just going to get 2 portions so that you guys have got one each.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
And we're going to salt that just to remove a bit of the moisture, but also to season it all the way through.
Okay.
So
Do you want me to get rid of that for you?
yes, please.
There
Thank you
go. I'll
very
get rid of that.
much.
There you go. And then we have one that's been in here as well. So
We
there
do
go.
indeed.
Right. So do you want me to just fire up that stove and just warm that up a little bit?
Yeah, so I've got some brown butter here that's, as you can see, is really golden, nutty, delicious.
Yeah.
So
we're
we're going to
checking
get
the
that
temperature of
to, yeah, to about between 65 and 75 degrees.
Right. Just to be exact. No pressure there.
No pressure there. I'm going to get this head on for the...
60, you can go in now.
There we go.
63,
Let's
there you
get
go.
it in.
Yeah.
So it's just going to have a nice little bath in that delicious brown butter.
There you go. All right, so what's next then?
So what's next is this cauliflower. So cauliflower is one of my favourite vegetables, really.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't tend to use the leaves or the stalks.
You're speaking to a guy from the north of here, the restaurant. He'll use
Uses everything.
including the root. He'll use everything.
That's what we like. No waste, right?
No, but it's a brassica like anything else. So, you know, you grow a broccoli or a kale and you use especially a kale, you use the leaves.
Well, also, you'll know it firsthand as well. When you're growing stuff, I keep saying to chefs and restaurateurs and anybody really, to fully understand produce, you've got to really understand how difficult it is to produce.
Yeah.
Because you learn to respect it a lot more, I think. Don't you think?
100%. I think, you know, at the restaurant we work with a number of small farmers and growers, and also I think embracing the imperfection.
Yeah.
So, you know, wonky carrots, some of them taste even better.
Yeah. So why London from New Zealand then?
So,
of all the places to choose from New Zealand, why this place? Was it the restaurant scene that brought you over here or what?
Yeah, it was actually. I actually had a job offer which brought me to London at the Savoy Grill. So that's where I kind of decided to temporarily give up my previous life, which was as a lawyer for a year or so.
Really?
And then, and so I thought, well, I'll come to London for 2 years.
Yeah.
And that was 18 years ago.
And that was 18 years ago. Well, we're going to talk about the restaurants in a minute, but we've got the fish cooking away nicely. You've got your cauliflower there. So tell me about what I'm doing over here. I've got the cardamom seeds from the pods in there, a little bit of salt, and then your combination of parsley and...
Parsley, coriander.
Coriander.
And then some oil to blend it.
Okay.
Touch of vinegar just to kind of...
How do you say this again, Chantelle?
Jus. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. It's fresh, it's spicy, it kind of cuts through the richness.
So explain to it, tell us about your restaurant then, because London's a busy place, you know. You're setting up a restaurant. Whereabouts is it? What is it?
So
tell us about it.
It is called Apricity. I wanted something that kind of symbolised regeneration, rejuvenation, joy, you know, all the good things. And I came across this lovely sounding word and thought, that's it. So maybe it was a lawyer in me, check that it wasn't trademarked. Yeah, so that's how Apricity was born, which means the warmth of the winter sun. Yeah, opened in April last year. So... And
your sort of little rumour is you're gunning for they've got these new Michelin stars now, these green Michelin stars.
Well...
This is what you're trying to focus on, is it, for you?
Well, I don't think it's a focus. I think, for me, it would be something that comes of what we're doing anyway. And I got one in 21 at Treadwell's. And so we've kind of amped up our efforts since then, and kind of it's become a real focus. But for me, at the end of the day, it's about, like any restaurant, isn't it? Like great food, a friendly team, and just a place that you really enjoy being in. So that's kind of first and foremost.
I love that you're using these leaves, because those inner white leaves on the cauliflower are just
they're
delicious.
So good,
they're
aren't
so
they?
Sweet.
Yeah.
And I love the you know, the quite tough outer leaves, like when they're quite green, deep fried, or just roasted in the oven. They're so nutty. How is it?
Like that.
Yeah?
Like that.
Should I check your seasoning? My seasoning.
Check the seasoning. It's your seasoning. You
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Good. Wait to put this in the blender then.
I would love you to.
So, let you make it. Right, so we just take this, stick it all in the blender.
Yeah.
I'll do the messy bit, just in
Thank
case it
you
goes all
so
over.
much.
I thought you might. That's the reason why I'm offering, you see.
Very kind.
Like that, exactly.
So this, it's basically just a little slaw, so a bit of oil, a bit of vinegar.
What? Speak while we're doing this.
Good blitzing.
Good blitzing.
Thank
Done this
you.
before.
A couple of times.
Just
maybe?
a few times, and then you end up with this amazing. This puree looks incredible.
Smells great as well.
It smells amazing, doesn't it?
The caramelisation, and I think the smell of the butter as well.
Well, yeah.
It's emulsified really nicely with the milk, hasn't it? And just
Yeah, it does. And you can actually, if you can't have dairy, you can do this with oil and even just water. It gives it that really great intensity. Thank you.
There you go. About ready to plate up, I'm assuming.
We are.
Look at
I'll
that.
give this a little mix.
So with the leaves, you just shred them down. It's just a little bit of oil, a little bit of vinegar, and some salt.
Yeah, and again, it gives it a bit of texture to the dish, so
Yeah.
you've got a bit of crunch there, a bit of freshness. So
I love this.
it's good, isn't
This
it?
is because
I
I
know.
love this.
It is a, as I said, when I kind of discovered it, it's not really left my menu ever since. Right, so we're just going to have a little bit of the nutty, which, you know, I think as cauliflower, when you caramelise it like this, it gets that real nuttiness.
It's so easy.
Maybe a cauliflower pudding next, Tommy.
Don't give him. His brain's already ticking over.
Oh, I know.
There you go.
This
Thank you.
interesting thing is, though, other than swapping potatoes and cauliflower, it's actually all pretty much the same ingredients, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
just a difference in technique.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we have this beautiful, it's had its nice butter bath.
Ooh.
Look at that.
So we've got a bit of the jus on top. So again, this is probably quite a comfort dish, really, I would say. And then just these on top. You know, you can kind of jazz it up a bit if you wish, but I think actually this is just a bit of a hug on a plate.
This is so simple. Look at that.
So,
Happy with that?
yes.
So give us the
there
name
we
of this
go.
dish.
So we have butter poached pollock with a caramelised cauliflower puree, zug and cauliflower leaf salad.
How amazing does that look? Right, there you go. You get to have a taste of this. Right, we'll have
Smells incredible. You
dive
can
in.
smell the butter, you can smell the zug as well. It sounds very
Look at that
fresh.
fish. Look at that.
Flaky.
Look at
Oh,
that
yeah.
fish. And I suppose because this is the cauliflower puree actually goes quite sweet. I don't know. I've just tasted
yeah,
it.
the kind of, it's caramelly, isn't it?
Be on a restaurant menu or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
works,
really interesting. That
works really
isn't
well.
it?
really, really
A little bit
interesting.
of kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That. Chantelle, everybody. Right, Chef Romy Gill will be laying on a feast for us very shortly, and we're chatting some more to Countdown star Susie Dent at the end of the show. But I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes when we've got a masterclass in cooking the perfect place. I'll see you in a bit. This is delicious. Welcome back. Now there's more from my guest Susie Dent, and Chef Romy Gill will be laying on a proper spread next. But first, it's time for this week's Little Masterclass. And this week is all about perfecting a simple classic, and that's the beautiful place that I've got in front of me over here. I'm going to use the entire bit of it as well, because I'm going to do 3 dishes. I'll show you 3 different ways you can serve with it. So this, first of all, is a little herb crust, first of all. And we use some parsley for this. I've got some parsley. I've got a touch of lemon, a little bit of parmesan, a few breadcrumbs, and that's about it, really. A little bit of watercress, if you wanted to, like that. We just blend that. We start that off, first of all, in here and get that blending. Where we want that is a sort of a fine crumb, first of all. Now, to help it on its way, we can then use some breadcrumbs as well. So we just put a little bit of breadcrumbs in there. That's enough. And start that going. So this is a wonderful little crust. You can do on any sort of fish, really, but it's a wonderful little simple dish. You've got a fillet of fish. This is a great way to actually serve it. So you can see the mixture's quite dry at the moment. I'll get a spoon, but lift this out and just show you what it looks like. The mixture's actually quite crumbly. Now, this is a great mixture. You put some parmesan in it. You can serve this with lamb, a little bit of lemon, that kind of stuff. But we want something to bind on the top. So what I'm going to use is a little bit of lemon zest in there, like that. And then a touch of cream cheese. Now, you've got to be careful with this, not to use too much of it. You want sort of no more than that much, really. About sort of a tablespoon. That's about what you need. Salt and pepper. Just give it a quick mix, and that's that one done. So just give it a quick blend. This mixture will start to come together into this sort of paste. I'll show you, though, your texture's changed. You can see that now? It's gone like a little pasty sort of one. So once we get to that stage, that is now finished. Then what we can do, get yourself 2 bits of paper, 1 bit, and that bit, and then we can then lift this out. Use a spatula for this one. We can then take this all out. So there's a mixture. You can see it's not too wet. That's the most important bit. It's just holding together. That's what we're looking for. If you make it too wet, it becomes quite wet on top of the fish as well. So what we can do is get to that stage and then take another bit of greaseproof paper, press it down, and what we want to do now is roll this out. So you can get it nice and flat like that. So this is going to act as a lovely crust to our piece of fish. Now, if I lift that off, you'll see what I'm talking about. Look at that beautiful colour from that. Really simple to prepare, nice and easy. But you just got to make sure you do it in the right order and put the breadcrumbs and the herbs in first. So take that now and pop it in the fridge. This will actually freeze really well as well. You just want to set that in the fridge. You're only going to take a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, over here, I finished with that. We can turn our attention to our place. So what I need for that, really, is I need a board that we can sit it. And it's a good idea to put it onto a wet cloth to stop it from sliding around, because you want this to hold firm. But look at this beautiful place. I mean, just look at that. This is just spectacular, this fish. It's unbelievable. Now, you can tell when fish is like this, it's absolutely bangingly fresh. Look at its eyes, look at its gills. Doesn't smell, it just looks so fresh, it looks amazing. Nature's been amazing. It's actually, it's not fillet by dots, it's fillet by lines, and there's a line down the centre of the fish like this. Now, on all flatfish, there are 4 fillets. So you start off with 2 fillets here, and then underneath, which is the white bit, there's another 2 fillets on there. Equal same size, the same sort of size. What we want to do with this is trim this off first of all, and you trim this bit off. This is, well, call the fins, or people call this the skirt of the fish, but you trim this off. Now, the thing about plaice as well, because it's not an oily fish, like tuna and stuff like that, we can utilise everything for stocks and sauces. So this makes the most amazing fish stock as well. Fish stock, we've done it before on the show. White vegetables only takes sort of 20 minutes to cook fish stock. That's all it is. Drain it off. Once you've got enough bones, you can make enough stock of it. You freeze it as well. It's fantastic. We're just going to take this, and that's the trim that we have left over. Now, you're left with something that you can sort of manage, and move the chopping board, move it so it's easier for you to work with. And then nature's been amazing. It's got this little line, like I said, down the edge. There's 2 ways you can fillet this, one of which is with a fillet knife, which is this. It's the only knife that you get a really bend on it like that. You can see this blade. That's where you get right in, and you can bend in there. But I like to use this, which is it's actually a boning knife. It's the only knife that you use this way to usually in sort of pieces of meat and bits and pieces. But I just find it's got a little bit of flex to it, is what you want, but it's much easier to fillet with something like this. So first of all, what you do is you follow that line. So you go straight in to this line there. And then what we would do is pick a side and just slice this. And what you want to do with this takes practice. And now, I'm not a very good fish filleter. There's way better than me. But what you want to do is try and do it in sort of one movement. So when you go in with a knife, you're not making little incisions. You're making sort of one big cut rather than little incisions in there. And you've got a beautiful bit of fish like that. It's absolutely glorious. Now, for this one, we can just trim this off. Again, not too much, like that. Trim it off, save that. Now, we can fillet this and fillet all of them, but what we can do is skin this at the same time. So if you don't like the skin on it, you can then just put your knife underneath and remove the skin. I'm going to show you how to do that a little bit later, but for this one, I want to get this one in the oven. I'm just going to leave this as it is, because I like that. It just protects it a little bit. So for this one, first of all, I'm just going to show you. We're going to get a little bit of butter on here, and then this is the one we'll get this in the oven, because it doesn't take very long to cook. So a little bit of butter on here, like that. Take our beautiful bit of fish, like that. I'll leave this to one side, so we'll come back to this one in a second. And meanwhile, back over to our crust, we can then get that, bring this out, lift this off, like that, peel it off. And then you can sort of trim this up. And what I do is sort of cut it through the paper, and you sort of roughly guesstimate the shape of the fish, roughly, like that, ish. And then you can lift this bit of paper off, like that. And then take this and lay it on the fish. Like that. So you just press it down like this. You can trim it up fully if you want, but then hopefully when you lift the paper off, like that. So, not too hot an oven, but it just wants to sit in the bottom oven like that. It's going to take sort of about 5 minutes to cook. Now, what you can do with this, 5-6 minutes in a nice oven like that will cook a fillet of fish like this. You can keep this trim as well, so you can re-roll this out, so nothing gets wasted really with this one. So keep this, utilise it, roll it out again, and we can keep that. So that's that one. So that's one of the fish dishes that we got. The other one, the classic one I suppose with plaice, has to be goujons, really. And these are really simple to make, to be honest with you. And you can do this with plaice, fantastic. So same thing again. What I'm going to do is use a knife again. And we're going to fillet the other side now, so you can see it probably better from there. I'll take the knife in. There's a little ridge bone in here. There's a little bone in there. There's a little ridge bone, so you've just got to be careful of. So we can then just pop the knife in, and again, go in, same sort of theory, and as you're doing it, you start to go in a little bit further. Turn the fish so it's easier for it to work with. Go in, like that, and as you lift this all off. Now, there's a big row on here, so we can just work around that and trim this off. So that's that one. So, again, right the way through, over here. And then what we've got is we can trim that one off, and we're going to use that side as well. So for this one with the row, we can take the row off. You can utilise that if you want. What a lot of people do with this is you can leave the skin on for something like plaice goujons. You don't have to, but I do. You've got a perfectly nice bit of fish like this. I'm going to remove the skin from the last bit, but you can take our nice bit of goujons and slice this up now. So take your knife, slice it through, like that. So we're not really wasting any of it. We've got one more. So there your little bit of goujons. Now keep all the trim again, like I said. So here we have it. This is the next bit. So flour, egg, breadcrumbs. Very, very simple to do a sort of, this is called a panne. It's a very, very simple sort of technique. Use a beaten egg. So we've just got some plain flour over here, seasoned plain flour. You've got the beaten egg. Going to go in there, like that. And then take your goujons in the flour first. So the flour gets mixed all in together. Then in the beaten egg, mixed all in. And this is when you walk around the supermarket, you see this being made. It's just, look how easy it is. Into the crumb. Now the crumb that we use for this one is called panko. It's a sort of Japanese style crumb. It's not a brand name, it's just a type of crumb. And what they do with the crumb is they dry it all out and shave it. And what you end up with this is you end up with a much crispier crumb when you come to deep fat fry it. If you're going to do this with normal bread, you've got to make sure that it's dried out. So take the bread and dry it out in the oven first, blend it, and you'll get a much crispier crumb. Now, the oil itself wants to be really, really hot. The thing is about these, that they're only thin, look. So they're only going to take, what, no more than sort of 30 seconds, really, to fry. So you've got to make sure that the oil's quite hot. So they can go straight in the fryer, like that. So we'll just take that to one side. And with the hot fryer, they're going to brown at the same time as cook. Very, very simple, but fresh plaice goujons are one of the real true delights. I'm going to show you one of a great dish in a second, which is very, very quick. But look, we just lift off our goujons like that. Lift these out. A bit of salt over the top. And there you have your beautiful, fresh... I've washed my hands, by the way. Look. So you've got your beautiful, fresh goujons. So, so simple. Super tasty. A plaice. That's dish number one done. So the other one's in the oven. The next one, which I'm going to show you how to sort of... Particularly not just how to fillet this, which we're going to do, very simple. So it's sort of the opposite way of what we've just done before. You've got a line on the bottom as well, like that. You insert your knife in. go around the gills like that, all the way around, and the same thing applies. You just take the knife in, long, slow movements, and this will just come off. And we're going to turn this into probably one of my favourite sort of fish dishes of all. This is meuniere. Really, really simple how to cook. Just a piece of fish meuniere. So fillet it. Like you see, you can see the bend on the knife that it's getting in when you're doing that. You're sort of following it around as you're doing it. This thing comes off. We can trim that off like that. Now I'm going to leave that to one side because we'll keep that for later, for the stocks and everything else. And you're left with a beautiful bit of fillet over here. So what we're going to do is trim that up. Again, keeping all the bits and pieces that are left over. And then that is your nice bit of fish. Done. So to cook this, just quickly wash my hands now. I'll just check on the one that's in here. Yeah, about another minute. Gives us time to finish this. This is a dish that's finished really, really quick. So, a little bit of oil in the pan first of all. We use veg oil to cook this first of all. Now, you pick whichever side you want to serve first, as in serve up, and you season the other side. So, we call this seasoning the dirty side. So, the bit that's had the skin on it, that's the bit you season. So, a little bit of salt, black pepper, there, and then hot pan on here, and then what we do is we place the bit you're going to serve it in. It's got no seasoning on it because it keeps it nice and white. We put that straight in the pan like that. So while that's happening, we can then just prepare the rest of our ingredients, because you just want to cook this fish very, very quickly. You'll see very, very quickly. It's only going to take probably about 90 seconds to cook. No more than that. I've got some lemon ready. We can then use the leftover bits of parsley. We can have that ready, chopped up, like that. A little bit finely chopped. I'll chop it a little bit finer. So the important bit is to watch the fish now. You can see it cooking halfway up the side of the fish, like that. You can see the fish almost going, that was translucent before, it's starting to colour nicely. You see that? That's the colour around the edges. Keep the pan nice and hot, and then this is ready to simply just flip out and ready on the plate. So once you've got the fish like that, take it over, turn it over. You see you've got a beautiful colour on there. Keep the residual pan cooking away nicely. So nice hot pan, but you can see by seasoning one side of it, you're only turning it over once, the seasoning's underneath. So you're left with a beautiful presentation bit of fish like this. So once you've got to that stage, we can then lift this out. Beautiful. Just see it just starting to cook and break up a little bit, which is what we want. Now in this pan, what we do is fire up the heat. We put the butter in it. It's called beurre noisette, nut brown butter. This is the important bit. So you've got your lemon ready, and you'll see the butter go from this foaming colour to a nut brown colour. And this is the most important bit right. If you don't get this right, you're just going to get butter just swimming in with fish. You need to get it nut brown colour. And you can see the butter, as it starts to bubble up, it'll go to this sort of, look as if doing nothing. This is getting hotter and hotter and hotter, but you can see the colour now of what's happening in the pan. And I can smell it. It's going this beautiful nut brown. When it gets to that stage, take it off the heat. Lemon. Good smidge of lemon goes in, like that. Parsley goes in. You can put things like capers with it as well. We just pour that over the top of the fish, like that. It's one of the real, true, finest dishes around. You've got a little bit of fish. Yeah, like that. And then finally, our final one, which is ready to be plated. What I've got in here is I've just got some melted butter. This is the herb crusted one. We take our lovely bit of fish, like that. Lift this out. That sits on there. Butter's been a bit melted. A little bit of lemon. Wedge on there. A little bit of watercress that we can have ready. And then all you do is you take the melted butter and you just brush this over the top. And it's a beautiful bit of fish. You can use that crust with salmon, it's entirely up to you. But it's nice and easy, nice and simple. And there you have it. The reason why I wanted to do 3 dishes is that it is one of my favourite fish around, really. But hopefully, I've kind of done it justice. But there you have Mr. Place. How good is that? Yeah. Now, I know you're all probably intrigued at what this looks like in here. So what you do is you get yourself a knife and you just break it. And it all comes apart like that. Beautiful white bit of fish underneath with the crust, like that. You can have it with the Parmesan, without the Parmesan, but either way, that little bit of cream cheese just blends it all together, but not too much. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes when Chef Romy Gill will be here. I'll see you in a bit. Lovely. Welcome back. Now, I'll be making classic profiteroles and chocolate eclairs for my guest, Susie Dent, a little bit later. But first, Mr. Tommy Banks and I are in the kitchen with a fabulous lady who's put Indian food on the culinary map. It's the fabulous Romy Gill, MBE! Yeah. Wonderful to have you back.
Thank you.
What are you going to be doing then? Because you've got the barbecue out. You put I'm redundant for this one.
So Tommy's going to help me with roasting the aubergine. So I'm doing this bagan bharta, which is roasted smoky aubergine.
Okay.
And also making some dal, which is really red lentils, very quick to make. And everybody has that in the store cupboard ingredients.
Okay.
And also, you're going to help me later. I'm making a Negroni for you.
Right.
Yeah, it's a special Negroni.
This is the real reason why you're sticking it.
drink.
That's what he's saying. So I'm going to quickly show.
So this is the dal.
So it's just the red lentils, which everyone has that in their cupboards, and turmeric. This is how we make. First of all, there are different ways of making lentils in India. Dal is very different ways. All states make it differently. So all you need is turmeric, salt, water, red lentils, or any kind of lentils. Okay. And every state will make the lentils really thick or thin.
So this is what I love about Indian cookery, because it is very, very... We talk about Yorkshire being regional and Lancashire and everything, but India, I mean, so many regions in India.
There's so many different regions, then so many different, dialects change. The ways, the method changes every state, and even the households. My mum would cook differently, my grandma would cook differently. So I think all the people would cook really, really different, same things, but very different ways.
I mean, I've always said it's one of my favourite places. I haven't been able to travel that much over my career, but India was one of the most amazing places I've ever been. I don't know if you've been to India.
I've never been, no.
It's just incredible. The culture, the colours as well. The fascination with colour.
So, Romy, these
are really, they're done. You just need to take them off and peel them. So make sure when you're doing it at home, so let them rest, let them cool a bit before you're going to peel them off. It's like Indian baba ganoush, right?
Putting him to work, you see.
So I've just added some oil and some cumin seeds. I love cumin seeds. They're so versatile spice. I think it's one of the versatile spices. It just works really well with everything, meat, veg, pulses, everything like that. Garlic goes in, a lot of garlic, you need a lot of garlic in that. So I'm going to dice some onions.
And what is it about India and onions? Because whenever I go to my mates' restaurants and everywhere else, the amount of onions that they're using, it's just the base flavour for so many different dishes.
So the thing is, like Punjabi cuisine, which I'm Punjabi, obviously, Punjabi cuisine, the base of Indian Punjabi cuisine is ginger, garlic, chilies, and then onions, a lot of onions and tomatoes. If you get that
Romy,
right...
This doesn't happen very often.
Yeah?
It didn't happen when Tommy was cooking.
Yeah.
Didn't happen when I was cooking.
Yeah?
Look.
Because of the smell.
You've turned my dog vegetarian.
Well,
the dog has officially gone vegetarian. Anyway, there we go.
So this dish need a lot of onions. You can use red onions, white onions, shallots. It's entirely up to you. But like I said, Punjabi cuisine or different states will have different, base of the onions. But Punjabi cuisine...
So somebody like Tommy, who's never been to India before, where would you recommend? Because it's such a massive, massive country. Where would you say to get... Give us 2 locations, chalk and cheese, 2 locations.
So for food-wise, I would really say to you go to Delhi, but go to Old Delhi, where the food is, the scene is, and Lucknow.
I'd like to go out and follow the cricket and the food.
Yeah, well, you can do that, but one thing you have to do over there is you have to get a tuk-tuk ride from the city.
Yeah,
because you'll get a sort of a Michael Schumacher version of a tour of a city centre and a tut-tut. It's one of the most amazing. It is the most amazing.
I love when you said about cricket, because in India, the cricket is just deep in there. I used to play cricket, Tommy.
Well, England are right up there now, aren't they? England are... Yeah. So, right, what have we got in here? You got the... Explain to us what we got in the pan.
So we have the cumin seeds, a lot of garlic, some onions. I just added some salt just so the onions cook quickly. So the tomatoes
so the
go
aubergines have been peeled.
Yes, Tom, you can come this side, Tommy, and mash those aubergines.
Mash them. What do you want? Mash them with a fork or chop them?
Yeah, chop them, mash them. Yeah, chop is fine.
Chop them up. All right. Okay.
So it's the same base then for both dishes?
Yes. So that's where the beauty of it is. You can make this and freeze it as well.
So, oh, right, so you make this base, and then from that you can make 2 different curries. Well, that's... So you are doing a lot of work, but you get 2 dishes out of it, so, yeah.
And I'll chop some, if you could chop some spring onions as well for me.
Yes, chef?
Please.
Now you're getting a little insight into my job now, aren't you? Really?
Yeah.
When you started off your career, Bits and Pieces, was the idea to be a chef, or what?
So my mum had cancer. I was doing my GCSEs when she had cancer. And when she used to cook, she couldn't taste anything. And then I said to my dad, I would like to go into hospitality and become a chef. That's enough, thank you. And you can chop some coriander as well.
Yes, chef.
And my dad said no, because I think in India still there are very handful of women chefs.
Yeah.
You know, and especially now in this country, we're getting loads of women are coming and they want to cook. And like India, there are different chefs coming from different states, which is great, because at that point, if you know, there were only Madhu Jaffrey.
I know.
Yeah.
My claim to fame is I got told off quite a lot on TV from Madhu Jaffrey. Yeah. Quite a force of nature on television. Right.
So I've got ground cumin, ground coriander, and some turmeric going in here.
Yeah.
And that can go in this as well, Tommy.
Yeah, all of it?
Yes, all of it, please.
Yeah, okay.
So, sometimes when you go to Indian restaurants, it's the little things that, to decorate the dish, they put coriander.
Yeah.
In Punjabi cuisine, we use a lot of the coriander. We cook when we are cooking the base. So it's not just to decorate the whole dish. It's all about bringing out the flavours.
So I don't peel and chop very many mangoes in my life.
This is your
Is there a special way of doing it, or I was going to top and tail and peel like that? Is that the way you do it?
Just perfect.
Oh, okay.
Just
I didn't know
perfect.
if there was a technique.
No, perfect. So, James
The key
and
to
Tommy,
it, the stone is the same shape as the mango, isn't it? That's
look at this.
Yeah,
This is going in there.
in.
So some of it is going in the lentils, which is our dal.
You turned vegetarian, or what? What? Have you genuinely turned vegetarian? You never do this.
In fairness, though, Ralph, it doesn't smell vegetarian. It smells real meaty and good over here.
So this aubergine, I would recommend if you want to do more aubergines, you can do more aubergines, so you can add more to it as well. I've made a really mess of everything, isn't it?
That's all right. That's all right. So while we're doing this, while he's slicing the mango, I'm going to get some of this out. So you what? This is something you've been involved. You've made as a Negroni.
Yes. Made as a Negroni. Very good.
So this, I'll sort of portion this. Is the mango going in the
so
Negroni?
So like a big slice, if you like a chunk, beautiful slice like that, yeah. Yes, so you always, I think with Negroni, you need to chill your glasses. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
And a lot of ice.
Yes.
And then when you go to a pub or any restaurants, the Negroni is warm, just really makes me cross because it needs to be really, really cold. So that Negroni has, your vermouth and Campari, but it's also got a gin which has mango, ginger, and lime, and I've crushed some cardamom and crushed some fennel in it.
Fantastic.
That's a very large Negroni.
So it's
I don't work in a bar, Tommy. You know, good job I don't work in yours, isn't it? Really?
I'm going to serve you, James and Tommy.
Right. Look at that.
Tommy, behind you, if you don't mind, please, is some flatbreads.
So one you've mixed it in, the other one you've mixed it with the dal.
Yes. See how clever?
2 dishes out of the same thing. Got it.
have to. It's so, you know, you don't want to make too much work, so it's easy to do that.
So I'll let you put it on there so we can see it. So that's that one. I'll put the Negroni on the side of it.
Give you time. You have your longer arms, please.
And then you want the
flatbreads just to go in here on the side brilliantly.
Yeah.
No, just there. Not in the lentils, please.
So give us this name of this dish.
Began bharta and dal.
Give us the name of this.
Thank you.
There we go, everybody. Done.
Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, I'll pass the glasses around.
Yeah.
There you have it. Secondly, I'll get you to taste the lentil one first, and then I'll have a taste of this one. So if I dive into this one.
Incredible, Romy.
Cheers.
Ching ching. It's quite nice. I enjoyed that cooking segment.
See?
Ooh. What's in this again?
The fennel and cardamom. So the gin has mango,
won't
ginger,
like this,
lime,
Ralph.
so it's really good.
This actually tastes like it's good for you.
I
I think it probably is.
Right.
Have with the roti, like the chapati. Scoop it out.
This is delicious.
Try
Is there
it.
chilli in that one or that one?
The base is the same, so the chilies, 4 chilies. They're bird-side chilies.
I don't feel like I've got any chilli looking at it.
You have in a minute. There, taste this. Taste this. Taste that one taste that one.
That's really nice. That's the nicest dal I think I've ever had.
Oh, that's nice compliment.
No, it's so delicious.
So nice.
So if people can't make their own chapatis or something, I would recommend they have this pita bread, make it into half, and then put that in the pockets. It's brilliant.
Right, Romy, you're an absolute star. Romy Gill, everybody.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Right, still to come, we've got time for one more final course this morning. So join us again after the break when we'll be creating an all-time favourite classic pudding that you don't want to miss. I'll see you in a bit. This is delicious. Ralph, do you want some? No chance. Welcome back to the final part of the show, but I'm here in the kitchen with all my guests. Countdown star Susie Dent is here, Romy Gill, Chantelle, and of course, I just so happen to have just a reasonably good commie chef with me, Mr. Tommy Banks, with me as well. So what we're going to do now is, I was thinking about dishes what to cook for you, and I know you're a fan of sort of classic puddings.
I am.
So I thought I'd do you profiteroles with chocolate sauce. I thought I'd do you eclairs. So eclairs, first of all, it's all made out of the same thing. First of all, we got water, we got flour, we got butter, and we got eggs. So first of all, we add the water. Now, some people, I don't know whether it's this gentleman to my left or your right, would add a little bit of milk into this.
Yeah,
Yes?
that's what I've always done. Yeah.
Some people put milk. See, people put milk in it, put water in it. Whatever you do, you put a little bit of diced butter in it. So, and what you want to do is bring this to the boil, and the idea is to add the flour. But the flour, I think, is the key part of all this. So, when you're walking around the supermarket, get the best flour you can afford. And it sounds daft, but some of the reason why your cake is not working, it's not because of a recipe book. I'm taking that's what you call deflection. That one. Sometimes it's the ingredients, and flour I think is the key to it.
It is the samosas pastry, you know. If the flour is not, like James said, good quality, then
It doesn't
that's
work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And there's
people
cakes.
do blame them.
Cakes, they're still the same. Now, I failed to mention earlier all the books that you've been doing. You're now book 16.
Yes, you sound very much like Jimmy Carr. I have written
I don't
lots
know.
of books.
I'm book 34, so I wouldn't.
I know, that is very reassuring to me. Yes, I have written quite a few books, and I've just written one about emotions and sort of words for all the emotions that you kind of feel but maybe didn't know had a name.
What was the most interesting that you found on your journey through writing that?
Recently, well, I'm always learning new things, and I learned something recently, which is not a name for an emotion, but it was the origin of, you know, when we have a beef with someone, and you think, what's beef got to do with it? It turns out that it goes back to the days in, well, 2 centuries ago in London, and if you were pickpocketed, you would shout, hot beef, which was Cockney rhyming slang for stop thief. And the call would be taken up across London. And so beef became this kind of grievance or complaint against someone, but it was all from that Cockney rhyming slang. So I just thought, how did I ever not know this?
Yeah, well, look, we've just got our choux pastry here. We can stop that. There we go. There we go. Switch that off. And then over here, I'm just going to basically pipe these. So we've got our nice little bit of fondant icing over here. I'm going to use a piping bag and nice little nozzles. When you're doing these, you sort of use a larger nozzle. That's what you want for this one. That goes in here, and I'm going to fill this all up. But one of the things that I found fascinating when I was doing all this research, but you two have got a connection. Big time of connection, because one of your favourite words, Susie, just happens to be the name of your restaurant.
I know.
So first of all, give us the name of the word, first of all.
You go.
Oh, OK. It is a beautiful, beautiful word, and it's apricity, apricity, and it's essentially the warmth of the sun on your back on a winter's day. It's just
Isn't that
gorgeous.
beautiful?
So where did you get the name of it from for your restaurant? Where did this come? Was that Google?
There was a bit of Googling involved, I must say. I was looking for a word that symbolised joy, regeneration, rejuvenation, and came across it, and just, like, I love the melody of it, and just, you know, you can really feel, it's very emotive, you can, you know, when you know what it means.
So these are our nice little bit of eclairs. So we pipe these. At the end, you flick it at the end. So you start off equal sort of speed. When you get to the end, stop, flick. So pipe in a line, stop, flick. Pipe in a line, stop, flick. So when you're doing this, as you do this, stop and flick. The actual profiteroles, you pipe on the top and swirl like that. Now, what you'll have is this little point on it as well. Now, to stop that point is you need water. So don't use any oil, a little bit of water on your hands, and you press this point down with your wet fingers. And then this goes in the oven. Some people have got steam ovens and bits and pieces, but they're just a gadget too far to me. Waste of time. You just want a tray of water, and that'll create the steam that you need from that. 200 degrees, shut the oven door. Needs to cook for about 30, 40 minutes, and then you end up with our choux that we've got in here. Like that. Now, I'm going to put my assistant to work for this one. We've got some cream in the fridge, so if you can grab that. But he's going to fill up these choux buns. And what you need for that is a pen. And you just take your pen, fill up the little thing like that, and then I want you to pipe it in that hole. Is that right? So I'll make a little bigger hole. There you go. Now, you've been working, we talked about it earlier, with an amazing charity. We're all big dog lovers in the house.
Yes.
You've introduced yourself to Ralph on the show as well.
I have.
Big lovers of animals. This is an amazing project, really. Tell us about this project, because this hits home on all levels.
Yeah, it's. I'm just so glad that I found out about it, really, because it's just. I think it's going to be life-changing, genuinely. Essentially, teams up a sighted person with someone with visual impairment who's blind, and just brings them together and lets them do things together that, you know, the person with the visual impairment might not have been able to do before. It might be going for a lovely long walk. It might be even going shopping, just, you know, experiences that they might have felt a bit nervous about before. They may have a dog, they may have a guide dog. Guide dog might not suit them, but...
And this was saying, anybody watching this, anybody can take part in this. It's just...
Yes, if you just have some training, and it genuinely, it's a little bit like kind of first aid. It honestly is going to be a lovely life skill, I think, and as important for me and for the sighted guys as it is for those that we're teamed up with.
So, eclairs. So this is the. He's looking at me thinking I'm completely balmy. So we're gonna make our little sort of chocolate sauce. If I can just get you to whisk this up, we've got in here some butter. I've got some water. I've got some sugar. I've got some. We just mix this up. But this is eclairs. So when we're doing this, you take a pen and you fill the hole. So when you're doing eclairs, there's two ways to do it. Is cut it through the middle, and you end up filling it with cream. You take a bite out of it, and then the cream flies out from the sides. Correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
This solves all that. Because when I was training as a young chef, we used to work in this very fancy restaurant. It's a 3 Michelin star restaurant. And the head, or the owner of the restaurant, didn't want to pay the bills for the dry cleaning for people's ties. So you see, you create little holes in here, there, in the top, and you fill it full of the cream in the little holes. And you can actually see it. Look. Fill up. There's a little bit for the chef while you're doing it. But,
Have we worked out why they're called eclairs yet?
Oh.
It's a big mystery. I mean, we know it's French for lightning.
I thought you were going to come out with this amazing thing.
No, well, it's French for lightning, so the idea is that they go down
French
like
for lightning?
Lightning.
Yeah. So they go down like lightning. They go down really fast, but no one quite knows.
Really?
Yeah.
So, once you've got your eclair like that, this is our little fondant icing, which needs to be warm when you're doing this. And you've got your nice little fondant. So fondant is a little bit of hot water, chocolate, and icing sugar. And you want it to sort of that consistency when you're doing that, so it's nice and smooth. Then you want it in a big bowl, because if you don't put it in a big bowl, you can't stuff the eclair inside the bowl. So you then dip it in where the holes are, and the idea of this is you dip it in, you then lift it up, the holes are then sealed up.
Clever.
And you've got your eclair.
Let it shine.
So it's shiny because of the...
Clever.
You dip it, and the idea is it fills these holes in, you see.
I feel bad for all the people I've covered in
Goo.
whipped cream over the years.
Yeah, but you're going to be getting a laundry bill from now on, all the ex-customers coming back. Look, but look, you just dip it in like that, twist it round, and then what used to happen is, so you'd have that, and the idea of having this in when it's still warm is that it sets on it as well, so you don't use it when it's cold, otherwise it just falls off. But we've got our classic chocolate sauce over here, which we can then lift up and pour this over the top. So hot chocolate sauce with profiteroles and cream. That's that one. So you take your...
Oh,
Look at that.
there.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
amazing.
That's so cool.
Right then, ladies, dive in. There you have it.
Oh my gosh.
Profiteroles, you've got forks, you've got your... They're all, well, they're different sauces. One's with the fondant icing and one's with that. There you go, Romy, dive into that one.
Wow.
But dive in. Now, if the colour starts to disappear, me and you just happen to have one each.
A whole one.
Yeah, so if the colour starts to disappear and you want to keep these and put them in the fridge, this will sort of cloud over a bit. This is what you need. So don't use a grill, obvious reasons. This, you just go over the top and it'll bring the colour back and the shine back on the eclairs. There we go. Serve them. Done.
Oh,
Delicious.
so good.
Chop them up.
Very good, James. Very good.
Happy with that?
Very, very.
Great cream.
Well, I was going to eat some, but
Great
I've got to do this bit. But that's it. That's all we've got time for today. Massive thank you to all my guests. Arthur and Naddy, James Tanner, Tommy Banks, Chantelle Nicholson, Romy Gill, and of course, Susie Dent. What a show we've got today. We'll see you back at the same time next Saturday morning at my house, where we'll be joined by chefs Nick Nairn, Asma Khan, Simon Hulston, and star of Dogs Behaving Badly, one of my favourite shows on the TV, Graham Hall, will be here. Looking forward to that one. Ralph, you better behave yourself. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye for now. Now I'm going to eat you.